Night train running sessions with my son have been a lot of fun, especially as our O-Gauge collection and roster expands. It's been really fun to watch them go around before calling it a night, the passenger cars flickering by, the sounds and sights, all the little scenes that we've been illuminating, and I've been working on some of the lighting for the engines. And for some of them, it's been pretty easy, or I haven't had to touch a thing. But a few of these have required a little bit more work, so I wanted to share with you what we've been doing in case you run into something like this. So you can upgrade the LED lights on the front of your older TMCC or even older legacy engines. My example today comes in the form of a Challenger. Surprise, surprise, I love these things. But the 3976 Challenger, this one here, has already had the upgrade done. So I'm going to do it to its little brother there, 3985. And you can tell at night here, 3976 has an LED in the front headlamp, whereas 3985 still has its kind of dimmer, less robust halogen bulb. So we're gonna fix all that. And these TMCC and earlier legacy models that don't have LED lights are great candidates for these because, well, they could use a little extra light. Here we are on the workbench with the Legacy Lion Master 3985, going to be installing this tiny LED into the headlamp to upgrade it. Now, if it doesn't fit, you can always shave a little bit off the edge, but this is going to be specific to your engine. You're regardless going to need one of these. This is a 330 ohm load resistor, and this is essentially going to make this work because the halogen bulb has resistance to it already. The LEDs hardly have any. So when you send power to that LED, it's just going to flicker real quick and never actually stay on because it's not picking up any resistance. So one of these is going to be crucial, and we're going to be installing this between the leads for the power to the bulb and to the engine itself. So regardless of how your engine comes apart, this is going to be where it's going to be specific to whatever engine you're doing this to. But essentially, if it's a Lionel and it has TMCC or early legacy and it has the ability to turn the headlamp on and off, you're going to need this. These Lion Master Challengers are pretty simple to replace the headlamp on. You've just got to remove the front pilot. There's 2 screws underneath, and then there's a tiny screw that's holding in the headlamp itself. Now, older ones, like TMCC style ones, like the Greyhound Challenger that I did before, those will just be able to be disconnected, whereas this one actually just has the bulb just wired right into the rest of the engine, so you're going to have to be a little more careful with this. So here's the headlamp. I've already uninstalled it, and I'm going to test fit this little LED. I've done a little bit of shaving on the edges of it to make sure that it fits nice and snug. I don't want it to fall out, but I do want it obviously to fit, so we've got a good fitment there. So the Legacy Lion Master we're doing today doesn't have the plugs on it, so I'm just going to have to snip this old bulb off. No problem, but I'm going to test things out, and to do it, I'm going to use these little clips here to kind of bend and hook the ends of the wires, so that way I can mock things up. I want to test this out before I solder everything together. So I've just got 3985 here on the test track, and I've hooked things up. I'm just testing things to make sure that I got the polarity right before I solder things. There's nothing more frustrating than having to redo wiring, so I want to make sure I got it right. So the resistor fits between the wires going to both poles of the LED. So I got a little bit creative in how I cut the wires to make sure that this all kind of fits snugly into the front. Real estate is a bit of an issue on the front of these Challengers, so I wanted to make sure I didn't just have wires hanging out everywhere. I essentially measured the length of wire that it would take to fit this resistor in, and then I cut the wires to the LED bulb at different lengths so that way I can fit it all in line together, and I've covered it up with this insulated kind of tube. I forget exactly what you're supposed to call that. I've used it 1,000 times, and heat shrink, that's the word. So got everything test fit, it all fits snugly, there's nothing sticking out, nothing impeding parts, and it's all installed back on 3985, good as new, and that bulb is shining brighter than ever. That LED light isn't super vivid, it's not a very harsh tone, it's more of a warmer light. So just pick one that A, fits in there because it's kind of a tight space to fit, and B, one that's not going to be kind of a more toyish LED kind of blue look. unless that's kind of what you're going for, but I've found that the warmer tones tend to match other halogen bulbs much better. If it's an older engine that's just running off of track power for the lights, you don't need to worry about this. But again, a lot of my engines are older TMCC and early legacy models, so I've done this upgrade several times before, and I'm really happy with the results. Haven't had any flickering issues, nothing's shorted out, it all looks great during the day, and especially at night around on our night train sessions.
It's a what?
Super bubble car.
Awesome. What's pulling it? Woohoo! Go check.
So thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped. If you got questions on installation or tools or equipment to use or tips on how to do this, let me know down in the comments. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys all on the next one.